Hello, everybody. My name is Andrew Della Torre, and I'm the Group Vice President here at Oracle Communications. I'm really excited to be joining you for this session at Oracle CloudWorld. So thank you very much for joining us for this CloudWorld session on reimagining communications for the modern enterprise. During the session, what I'm going to try and do is share with you our vision for how we see the enterprise itself evolving and transforming, and hopefully demonstrate to you how Oracle Communications is actually supporting our enterprise customers in moving through that transformation. So let's start a little bit with what is the modern enterprise. So the modern enterprise has so far been very focused on how to increase productivity and efficiency within their business. And they've been developing many different ways in which they can enable their workforce and their business systems to integrate more seamlessly with each other in order to achieve those goals. Now, this has led to a real focus on creating human-centric models for creating the hybrid working environment that they need. And they've been basing that on secure, seamless communication tools, which give them the flexibility to really be able to collaborate and communicate from anywhere. However, enterprises are increasingly facing a lot more challenges. And if you think a little bit about the big shifts that happened during the COVID pandemic, this accelerated massively the way that people communicated within those businesses. And more of the global workforce is now wanting to communicate from anywhere. And some prefer to be working either from the office or off-site or in any location really that they want. And this has really introduced, the need for a really agile approach to where everybody is communicating according to their own preferences and needs. Now, these needs can be very different depending on the size of the organization, whether it's multinational, whether it's multicultural. And so as an example, if we take Oracle itself, we have 133,000 global employees. We have 13,000 customer support representatives. And they're actually dealing with 430,000 customers across 175 countries. This is in 29 different languages. As you can imagine, all of these dimensions are really creating a big challenge in terms of the need to be able to embrace a very complex and very, sort of disparate communication and collaboration type solutions. So let's think a little bit, though, about what the journey that they're going on is, though, because it isn't just the challenges I've been talking about. It's not just about their internal collaboration and their workforce. It's also about the continued journey of enterprises in actually transforming themselves into digital businesses. So, tomorrow's enterprise is really going to be striving to further digitize not just the way that they deliver products, but potentially even the products themselves. And that actually is introducing yet another series of challenges, but also opportunities. Now, this is really driven by the need to, really be able to respond in a truly agile and differentiated way in the market. And these digital products and digitally delivering these products is really key to be able to achieve those goals. And if you think about an example such as analytics, enabling analytics within those products and within those services does enable enterprises to make real-time adjustments and adaptations to the actual services and the way that their customers experience them. So these are really important differentiating capabilities. Now, to achieve this kind of real-time manipulation, of course, what you need is communications. You need communications to be able to feed data, feed insights into the applications themselves. And if you actually look at the communications-enabled industry and the apps that we are forecasting are going to come out, we see industry forecasts that are actually suggesting that this will be worth about $165 billion by 2026. And this is growing at a compound annual growth ratio of around 20%. So it's definitely the direction that a lot of companies are going to be heading towards in order to drive their growth and their revenues. But let's also think a little bit about, the fact that these communications-enabled services are already transforming the modern enterprise. We are seeing the adoption of taking data from the network itself, taking the really important metadata and enriching even the services themselves with new components, new real-time media feeds, such as audio, such as video. This is already enabling enterprises to deliver their services in a much richer way. And it's giving them the ability to deliver those with true agility, to be very customer-centric around the way those services operate, and of course, apply actionable insights around the way that those services are operating. Now, this kind of real-time augmentation can take many forms. Obviously, the services themselves, they can have components added into them, such as the types of application we see in the augmented reality space, where you see those real-time media feeds being an integral part of the way the application operates. But it's actually not just changes to the services themselves that can be valuable. It's also all of the information that sits around the service from the network itself. And this can often provide really valuable insights in how the actual service is performing and the way that service is being experienced by the customers. Now, either way, however you choose to apply this kind of real-time interaction, it's definitely providing the ability to create new ways to really shape those services and deliver them into the customers that can be more powerful than the services that have been taken into the market up until that point. So let's have a little look now in terms of how we believe as Oracle Communications, we're helping enterprises to go on this journey and tackle these transformative challenges that they have in the industry. So first of all, let's just level set on a few trends that we're definitely seeing here. And I think one thing that is very much sort of at the forefront is that the hybrid working environment is here to stay. It's been accelerated by the pandemic, and we see a lot of residual grip now into a lot of the ways that people have got used to working. So if you think about the whole big resignation that's going on, we see a lot of this is being fueled by workers' desires to have more flexible work policies at their employers. And so, you see here that 52% of the people that were polled in this survey actually indicated that. And this is especially true for younger generations. So when you get into the Gen Z demographic, who have really increasingly demanding expectations on workplace flexibility. There was actually a recent survey done by Slack as well, which actually revealed that 12% of the employees were actually eager to return to the office full time. But at the same time, only 30% of the Gen Zs wanted to stay, sort of completely remote. 34% of them wanted to come back. The point here is that you have across your employee base some very different viewpoints in terms of the workplace preferences and the way people want to basically do business now. And it's this mix which is really driving the need for enterprises to embrace these kind of hybrid communication environments. So at the same time, we see technology trends shifting at increased pace as well. And this is often linked actually to the hybrid working needs that I was just talking about. So if you look at, the whole acceleration into the cloud, this is definitely continuing. And so we see, the increasing propensity of enterprises moving from these on-premise application environments into as-a-service consumption of cloud-based solutions. Now, this isn't only driven by hybrid working. It's very much also aiding to help cut IT costs, to streamline various processes in the business, improve security and boost the performance as well of the applications themselves. But we actually conducted some research of our own as Oracle with Omdia, and they actually revealed that in 2023, cloud communications services are likely to actually overtake on-premise services in terms of the users that are then consuming them. So this is a really big shift now that we see. Now, unified comms have been really transformational workplace tools, and they've been really key to be able to deliver, rich collaboration capabilities within the enterprises. But we also see things like call centers as really, important pillars of enterprises businesses, and a main component of how they actually, manage to achieve engagement with their customers and deliver the services they do. And those two examples alone are, very widely available now as cloud-based service offerings. So you can see that the important things are already there to allow that migration and allow that movement. However, this is balanced a little bit by the fact that legacy investments, which are often very significant, and sometimes things like compliance and regulatory drivers, they kind of do continue to tether enterprises back to some of these old on-prem capabilities. So the actual technology estate itself is also becoming more of a hybrid environment where move to cloud is happening, but the old systems are remaining in some areas as well. So this is another set of challenges. So the other interesting dynamic as well that we are seeing here is the way that the whole hybrid world is increasing the attack surface for hackers and other malicious people as they come in. And so security has kind of never really been more important than it is now. It's super critical, and one of the things that is increasingly being used as a vehicle to actually land attacks is the voice networks. So if we look at one example, which was one of the largest ransomware attacks in 2021, this actually began with a customer support phone call. This was the Robin Hood ransomware attack, which ultimately ended in that business being compromised, and the personal data of more than 7 million customers was actually exposed out into the open environment. Now, recent research actually also suggests this is not a unique situation. So call center fraud attacks are actually on the rise, and there's a kind of 58% increase that we're seeing year on year in terms of call spoofing. So migration to the cloud and migrating applications to the cloud can often dominate the view of the security functions within the enterprises. But these voice networks are still a really critical channel, and social engineering tactics can be applied to those networks, to be able to achieve things like phishing, theft of service, denial of service, harassment calls. All of these things, beyond just the direct financial and reputational damage that comes from these incidents, are basically a big drain on the actual organization, and they cost a lot of indirect money because loss of productivity, infrastructure overheads to try and mitigate them. This is all sort of leading up to an increased focus on making sure that the networks are as secure as they can be. So another interesting dimension I would like to cover here is around the complexity of the communications journey you would typically see in a modern enterprise. And you can see here that each individual person, is actually having a very complicated journey during their working day, moving in and out of multiple collaboration tools, multiple means of communicating. And this diverse landscape has been steadily evolving over the last few years, but is actually starting to accelerate now. Now, this also brings an additional challenge in terms of how do you manage to bring together all of these communication channels and all of these tools? Because the value of doing so can be quite significant to an enterprise as it tries to monitor on a more end-to-end basis the productivity and the experience that both their employees and their customers have. So let's talk a little bit now around Oracle and how we believe we help enterprises tackling these challenges and really being able to create and build really rich hybrid environments to deal with these things. So the first thing is we take a best of breed approach here as Oracle. So we are very focused on delivering market leading functionality in our products, and that is designed to keep pace with the changes and the needs of our customers that we see in the market. We are very security focused, and this is a primary objective within the portfolios that we offer. And we provide products and solutions that specifically focus on the area of security around this kind of critical multimedia, service space. And we also do that with all the knowledge that we have as Oracle, as a hyperscale cloud provider, as a leader in enterprise IT applications. So we're extremely familiar with the environments that these enterprises are moving into, and being able to give them the communications infrastructure to secure them is really important. So we've got 5 key capability pillars that we basically are aiming to put into the market to help enterprises in deal with this. The first one is a set of capabilities to help them connect to the cloud. And this is where customers can basically integrate cloud implications back into their existing telecommunications connectivity or bring your own carrier. So this is really means for them to be able to take that step into cloud and not have to re-engineer all of their telecommunications infrastructure behind it. The second is around how to integrate communications solutions together. The migration process itself needs you to move from old to new. And also you end up with an estate of very varied capabilities. So we build solutions and tools that enable you to bring those together and to do those easy migrations and allow interworking between the different solutions. The third area is around securing those real-time communications. And we've moved not just from doing this at the layer of the voice over IP network itself, but actually up at the service layer, at the voice telephony layer itself. And we're able to use and apply machine learning and artificial intelligence engines to provide the right degree of analytics and predictive outcomes to be really precise and proactive in managing those threats. Then we have enabling real-time communication applications. So any business often will find that they need to create their own type of real-time communications, which is tailored to their business and the way their employees want to work. And we do provide tools, again, that enable you to build those services on top of the infrastructure that you have already. And all of this kind gets wrapped together to be able to have a full toolkit to create that hybrid contact center environment. And so those four pillars are really the thing that enables the enterprise to really, build the environment that they need to support full and rich hybrid comms. But now let's talk about that next part of the journey that the enterprises are going on, and that's transforming into digital businesses with digitized products and services being delivered in that way. And here again, Oracle are striving to be able to bring solutions to them. So we did a little bit of research last year, and we actually asked an independent analyst to run a survey on our behalf. What we found from this is that when we spoke to 900 different leaders from enterprises across the world, they gave us some very clear messages about what was important to them in the connected application space and what their underlying IoT strategies and focuses were. The first thing that we picked up was that this is a big shift now away from back office applications to really business critical applications. And 90% of the projects that were being done were considered fundamental. This actually also incorporated 50% of them, which were classified as directly customer facing. So this is now, services being developed that are absolutely mission critical and core to the business operations. 70% of the people we canvassed actually said that they needed data enrichment in their solutions. So this pull for real-time communications enablement was very clear. And the connectivity also came across loud and clear, with 75% of them saying it should be baked in, into the applications automatically. Now, the top two needs that they then stressed to us were increased automation and ease of integration. And this was really driven by a desire that these things need to have a very rapid speed to market. And they even went so far as to indicating that 64% of them favored an off-the-shelf solution rather than trying to attempt a tailored one. So these are very fundamental services being built now. And the enterprises are really signaling that they need to do that in a fast and efficient and a simple way. So here at Oracle, what we're doing is we're building the tools again to be able to build those applications, but actually building even the applications themselves. Now, as an enablement capability, what we are doing is we've developed a brand new cloud native platform, which will enable those applications to easily integrate with the real-time communications ecosystem. So this platform contains all of the essential features that you need to allow an application to connect into the real-time comms world. So obviously the management of the connectivity itself, but aspects such as device management for those sensors and those actuators that are part of the service. How do you lifecycle manage them? Digital twinning so that you can abstract the complex communications environment into something that the application can make use of and consume. Now, all of this is presented through an open API layer to make this very ecosystem friendly, very easy to actually integrate into if you are developing applications that need to draw into this. It's a fully agnostic platform in terms of the comms technology. So it can work with private networks, public carrier networks. It could be cellular technologies. It could be non-cellular. This is all very open. And importantly, this is also built in OCI. And it's a next generation cloud enablement platform, which is able to then leverage the scale and the global footprint of the Oracle Cloud. So a real engine for innovation for this new connected application world. So we're also developing our first set of actual industry applications leveraging this platform at Oracle. And we are really building upon the credentials that we have and our established position as a leading provider of specialist industry applications within a huge number of industry verticals. And you see just a little example here of the footprint we already have and the way that we are servicing enterprise customers in these places. But our first connected applications are really focusing on key industries such as construction engineering, utilities, food and beverage, and public safety. And we're confident that these applications are actually going to transform these industries because they're built and they're offering capabilities that have never been possible before without real-time communication enablement. So keep an eye out for the Oracle launches that are coming in this area in the near future. So let me just summarize now. So the enterprise world is really starting another phase of its transformation journey as they pivot into turning themselves into fully digital businesses. But this is all happening at the same time as they're managing still significant transformation in the way that they're trying to build and drive their communications and collaboration capabilities within their businesses and within their operation itself. So what does Oracle bring to this journey? Well, as a communications provider, we've got over 20 years experience in protecting big enterprise networks and a long history of building these complex hybrid environments and a key security mindset in terms of the way that we focus our products and the way that we build those products as well. Now, we've also then developed this next generation communications enablement platform, and this is really going to be a key thing to power this new ecosystem of real-time digital applications. But as a hyperscale cloud provider and a leading enterprise applications provider already, Oracle is able to bring all of that expertise and experience, as well as things like extensive analytics capabilities based on our cloud-based AI and ML engines, all to bear in the solutions that we're bringing here to the market. So I'm really excited about the direction that this whole industry is going into and the way the enterprise world is evolving. I think it represents a wealth of possibilities that we see ahead of us. And I'm also super confident that Oracle can be a great partner for any enterprise who's trying to follow that journey and reimagine the way that they use communications to drive their business. So thank you so much for taking some time to join this session. And I hope I'll hear from you soon. If there's anything else you need, please feel free to contact me directly on the details you see on the page. Thank you.